before there were algorithms, before Google, GPS, or even paper. One man drew a straight line and asked, "What can I prove from this?" His name was Euclid, a name whispered across millennia, yet a face we've never seen. He didn't build pyramids, he didn't wage wars. He did something quieter and far more permanent. He gave us a way to think. Tonight, we're not just exploring geometry, we're tracing the foundation of rational thought, from the empty spaces of ancient Alexandria to the very code that powers your phone. This is the story of Euclid, the silent architect of truth. There are figures in history we know through portraits, diaries, and public triumphs. Euclid is not one of them. We know almost nothing about the man himself. Not his birthday, not his family, not his philosophy on life. No paintings, no letters, no tombstone. And yet, over 2,000 years later, every schoolchild who's ever drawn a triangle, bisected a line, or calculated an angle has touched his work. He likely lived around 300 BCE, during the reign of Ptolemy I in Alexandria, Egypt, then the intellectual capital of the world. It was a city filled with thinkers. The Library of Alexandria had scrolls from Babylon, India, Persia, and Greece. It was here that math, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy mingled. Euclid entered this scene quietly, but he would shape it permanently. His name would become synonymous with geometry itself. For 2,000 years, when people said geometry, they meant Euclidean geometry. But Euclid's real legacy isn't just shapes and numbers. It's something deeper, a new kind of thinking, a way of building knowledge, from axioms, step by step, with no leaps of faith. Euclid's Elements isn't just a math book, it's the math book. Over 13 volumes, it attempts something nearly divine, to explain the physical world using reason alone. He begins humbly. A point is that which has no part. A line is breathless length. A circle is a plane figure contained by one line. Then he sets the ground rules, 5 postulates, simple assumptions we must accept without proof. You can draw a straight line from any point to any other. You can extend a finite straight line indefinitely. You can draw a circle with any center and distance. All right angles are equal. If a line intersects 2 lines and makes interior angles less than 2 right angles, the lines will eventually meet. It's that 5th one that causes problems. The parallel postulate feels more complicated, less self-evident. But Euclid doesn't skip it. He builds upon it meticulously. Each proposition in Elements follows from the ones before, like laying stones in a perfect foundation. No leaps, no guesswork, just deduction. Among his greatest hits, the Pythagorean theorem, Proposition 47 of Book 1, the properties of prime numbers, the concept of irrational numbers. This structure wasn't just mathematical, it was philosophical. Euclid proved that truth could be built, not just believed.
For over 2,000 years, Elements was the gold standard for knowledge, copied by hand, translated into Arabic, Latin, and dozens of other languages. It wasn't just used by mathematicians. Philosophers, theologians, and scientists all studied it to learn how to think. Spinoza, the 17th century philosopher, wrote his Ethics using Euclid's style, definitions, axioms, and propositions. René Descartes reshaped geometry into algebra, but never abandoned Euclid's rigor. Thomas Hobbes claimed that reading Elements changed his life, and Einstein kept a copy on his shelf saying, "If you want certainty, study Euclid." Euclid's method became the foundation of formal logic systems, proof-based mathematics, and the structure of algorithms and computer science. Every time we write code that follows a logic tree, we're echoing Euclid. Every time a courtroom uses deductive reasoning to build a case, that's Euclid. He didn't just invent geometry. He created a universal language of clarity.
But even perfection has cracks. That fifth postulate, the parallel axiom, felt like a puzzle. It says that given a line and a point not on it, there is only one line parallel to the original that passes through the point. For centuries, scholars tried to prove it using the other four postulates, but no one could. Then came a revolution. In the 19th century, Lobachevsky, Bolyai, and Gauss independently realized something radical. What if the parallel postulate isn't the only option? They built entirely new geometries, where multiple parallel lines could exist, where triangles had more or less than 180 degrees, where space curved. This was the birth of non-Euclidean geometry. And rather than destroy Euclid's system, it enriched it, because Euclid's brilliance wasn't in claiming universal truth, it was in building a system that was internally consistent. He taught us how to start with rules and then follow them relentlessly. That opened the door for exploring alternative rules and new kinds of math. This was the foundation for Einstein's theory of general relativity, where gravity bends space. The world wasn't flat, and Euclid's greatest limitation became his greatest gift, an invitation to imagine what lies beyond. In the age of artificial intelligence, big data, and quantum computers, why should we care about a man who drew triangles 2,300 years ago? Because Euclid gave us more than formulas. He gave us discipline of mind. In a world overflowing with opinions, algorithms, and spin, Euclid gives us a path. Start with clear definitions. Make only logical steps. Don't skip. Don't assume. Prove it. His Elements is a blueprint not just for geometry, but for rational thought. In fact, if social media platforms followed Euclid's model, misinformation wouldn't spread as easily. Lies can't survive where proof is required. Even in modern AI, where machines learn from patterns, the architecture is often built on logic trees that reflect Euclidean deduction. So Euclid's influence is everywhere. In classrooms, in engineering, in cryptography, in legal reasoning, and in the very code that runs your phone. When you search for truth in a structured, honest way, you're working in Euclid's shadow. And that's why his work survived, because it works, because it's repeatable, because it's eternal.
Euclid never sought fame. He didn't name his theorems after himself. He didn't proclaim grand truths. He just built, block by block, line by line, a perfect cathedral of thought. He wasn't the loudest, but he may have been the clearest. In a time when truth is often twisted, Euclid remains a beacon. He reminds us that the clearest voice isn't the one that yells, it's the one that proves. Euclid didn't just teach us geometry, he taught us how to know. Euclid, the ghost who defined space, the builder who never bent a line, the father of reason and the architect of truth. If you enjoy this video by Calm Digital Flow, like, subscribe, and share this video.